I don't quite have enough time to make the red-black one as well and have them both saved, but I may very well do that after the first round, just so that we can take a look. I think there may even be some argument to trying to do something with the white, like maybe a green-white deck. It wouldn't be terrible, and that we get Smite, the Griffin, the Great Horn. I don't feel like that deck really wants the walls, though. Like, I get the advantage of this card as a 3-mana 3/3, which is pretty cool. But if you're not making use of the 0/6, you're kind of not doing it right, because they can just attack past it. I could see a dirtily blue deck being a thing too. There's just not really like a finisher for that deck. Like I said, early in the format, and these are the fun times for me when you don't really know what you're doing, and neither does anybody else. Exciting times. Alright, so this hand, we're on the draw. Opponent has mulliganed. I think I keep this on the draw as it gets pretty good with any land. We can run out a Vile Aggregate to block or a Lifespring Druid to ramp. And then once we're ramping, we can start to get into some of these guys. We'd also be happy drawing our 2-drop rampy cards. And we could do shenanigans with Sure Strike. Plus Sure Strike plus Trample's fine. So I think I keep this on the draw. I think I probably send it back on the play with a 17 lander. But on the draw, we'll give this a shot. Looks kind of like a BFZ sealed right now, but that's all right. Our aggregate is indeed vile. All right, land is not something we're unhappy to see here. Like I said, we'll decide if they play a 2-drop into a 3-drop. Obviously, Vile Aggregate's better as a blocker. If they do nothing, we might just run out the Druid. But we'll see. The little McKindy 2/1 would have been pretty good there too, but... Well, this guy's basically a 1/5, which doesn't seem like it does much against our opponent. That said, I'd probably rather get that countered than the Druid. So there's a question of, do I run out the Druid? The Druid gives me access to 5 mana next turn. But I'm trying to get to 7, not to 5, and he's not going to play something I have to Stone Fury. So I think I run this out. It makes any additional draws of colorless creatures better, and I'd rather have that countered if there's a counter spell. I'm not super expecting it to get in there, but if it gets in for a point, that's not going to hurt my feelings. As a holdout settlement for Wingdings. I guess that's kind of like a fort built under a collapsed Hedron, which is interesting. No, all right, great. As far as I'm concerned, that's a terrific target for that, because I would like to keep access to my Lifespring Druid. I'll leave up a red, as I do have a 1-mana green combat trick in my deck, and I'd like them to not be thinking about that right now. Hedron Archive's a little bit scary, as that can let you ramp out some big things. We can't really do much this turn. We have 6 mana, and 7 is what we need. So I think that means we just swing with the Druid, play the Hedron Crawler, and pass the turn. They've got a lot of mana. If they don't tap out, I may just sit. If they do, we're slamming that Plated Crusher and seeing if we can ride that to victory. Ideally, they pop this for cards. That'd be great. Doesn't look like that's what's happening. They're spending all the Wingdings for a Ghostly Sentinel. You know, Saddleback Lagak attack with this guy is actually a thing. So let's see. I play this for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means I could attack with this, and if my opponent blocks, we Sure Strike. There's also a 1-mana destroy attacking creature card, so I kind of don't want that to happen either. I think the best use of my turn may be to play the Plated Crusher, and then next turn we've got Lagak Sure Strike or Stone Fury Sure Strike. Like, I don't want to attack in and get 2 for 1 on a Sure Strike, and I'd rather have this in play through counterspells and whatnot, as that plus Sure Strike and or Stone Fury should be pretty damn difficult for our opponent to deal with. It's plated and it crushes. Like, what else do you want? We can also support onto it and have an 8/7. That seems fantastical. Yeah, the Lagak turns our Druid into a 3/2, which is all of a sudden relevant on the board. And as a 3/1, it looks like it's going to be decent against this deck anyway. It's kind of bad in a world full of Scions, but Blue-White isn't really known for their Scion creating prowess. In some formats, I think as recently as Origins, we had Celestial Flare. You had to be careful about attacking with your dudes, but we no longer live in that world. I kind of feel like I don't care about the Ghost Dad here. But we'll see exactly what our opponent's up to. Looks like they are using this for mana, not drawing cards. They have missed land drops though, so they lose some of the value of the ramp that this gives them. I mean, they're playing at oh wow, they're just playing Seer's Lantern 2. Good. Good, good, good. I don't think I'm gonna have any trouble with that. And a 3/3. Alright. We are in business. So their plan is probably to double block them, which is great because that makes Sure Strike just better. But I think I Lagak, put a counter on each of them, and then attack and Sure Strike, and we're kind of just winning. Because if they don't trade something for this guy now, they're in trouble. We're also playing around that destroy the 2-power dude or whatever. So I think we're in pretty good shape here. I kind of imagine one of them jumping in front of this and us Sure Striking it. But even if that doesn't happen, like they're at 7, we have Stone Fury. We have potential 3/3 Haster. Like all sorts of good stuff can happen here. Red-green beats, yo. Enchantment Kill would be useful in this matchup as they have at least the isolation zone that we know about. They may have containment membranes too if they're main white-blue. Naturalize would be a phenomenal card as it pops artifacts and enchantments. I don't think I saw any of that effect in there. Again, mentioning the main deck Plummet because it'd be good here. I felt pretty safe main decking Plummet, but we ended up playing that make a 4/4 you have to block it thing instead, which would still be a fine draw here. This is kind of classic Magic matchup. Red-green beats versus blue-white skies. We'll pause it while our opponent... Oh, there you go. You ready to do something now, I take it. God, Mrs. Judgment with this thing in play is just absurd. I can't envision too many cards that get my opponent out of this short of the Wrath card. Can't remember what it's called. Planar Outburst or Planar Uprising or Kill All Your Dudes, whatever it is. Even that, like with lands, we're still getting in there for 3. But yeah, I'm digging the Lagak with this draw. I can envision a board state where you just don't have too many other dudes and you're paying, you know, 4 for a 3/1, which is pretty miserable. But I guess even if you get 1 support off of this, you're okay with it. Like, we've paid 3 mana for 3/1s before, and it's never been great, but it's been acceptable. So maybe that card's just amazing in sealed too. Kelsey had one at the pre-release and said she did not play it in her sealed deck, or that she did play it and was not impressed with it, I think was what she said. But I think it's, again, one of those curve dependent things. You kind of need to go 2-3 into this to get full value. Although in our case, making this guy a relevant attacker and pumping up our hexproof dude, I ain't gonna complain about that. Something's happening. And it's good. Them drawing cards is fantastic for us. Oh, that little 1-mana green spell will counter a sheer drop too. I didn't even think about that. But it destroys target tapped creature and you can untap your dude. Alright, so Seer's Lantern, Hedron Archive, couple of flyers, Isolation Zone, some reason for colorless mana. Let's see what's going on here. Again, I kind of like it better when you have all your gold cards grouped up like this. So, I don't have a naturalize effect in green. I almost certainly want this Plummet. And I suspect that I want the other Vines of the Recluse, perhaps over the Sure Strike. But we'll make those decisions here in just a moment. It wouldn't be difficult for me to warp my mana base just a bit and get in this Felidar Cub as a naturalize type effect. Like we could run the Loam Larva, the Felidar Cub, and a Plains. And that would give us the Druid to cast it off of, as well as the Plains, as well as the Visage, as well as the Larva to fetch it up. But I kind of don't think I need it. Like, I could certainly see it being good, but I'm not 100% sold. The easy cuts for me are, let's get rid of this Uprising and this Sure Strike and bring in the other Vines of the Recluse and the Plummet. Again, there's a lot of stuff that has to do with tapping your creatures in blue-white. Not just Sheer Drop, which is a common, but also we actually have one of them, and I can't remember the name of the damn card. There it is, Containment Membrane. So, like, this can kind of do some shenanigans with that. It's also good against flyers. And it should make most of our dudes win combat against a flyer anyway, because our guys are pretty high on the power side of things, with a few exceptions. You know, what's up, Vile Aggregate? But I think that's the only trade I want to make. If we had a green enchantment removal or even a red artifact removal, I'd play it. And most sets have something like that. This one just does not. So I guess here we are. Let's see what this hand has in store for us. So, relatively mediocre draw. It's got 5s, no ramp, but it does have a 2 and a 3, which is probably acceptable. Again, on the draw, I'll keep it, but we kind of have to hit that next land. If we don't, we're basically auto-losing, but we did build a deck that wanted to have a curve, so getting one in there can't be a bad thing. All right, I like drawing another land. I would, in fact, not mind 2 more lands. Or even better, an accelerant. All right, so now we have a decision to make. I say that, but we don't really. This can potentially get us to 5 faster, which will be really good for either of these. But the Slide Runner is at its best on turn 2, so I think we just need to run this out, hit for 3, and then we can decide if we want to, if we draw another land, play the Crawler. If we don't, probably play the Aggressor. The reason for not playing it if we don't hit a land is this at least gives us more attackers. Although I guess now the upside of drawing a land is so good that I just want that Crawler in play. Plus, worst case scenario, I can play the Aggressor and it'll have haste. I guess that's not terrible. Alright, that's very reproachful of you. Yeah, let's do this, because if I'm able to hit a Shatterskull Recruit or a Territorial Baloth next turn, we're really happy about it. Probably would run the Baloth first as lands get better with it. And if we whiff on a land, I can at least get the Aggressor out. Which, while not phenomenal, is, I mean, it's a 2-3 haste is better than a 2-3 without haste, right? They employ a foul sort of teamwork. I wonder if there's a career in reading flavor text. It's endearing in a mystical, pointy sort of way. Akum can make any intruder look small. That was almost a Darth Vader voice. I have you now. Chandra used jets of flame to lure Hellions into the path of oncoming Eldrazi. Alright, so lots of mana, not doing anything. Would have liked to land there, didn't hit one. That's okay, we've got good cards, we just need one more land to do things with them. Gonna attack with this little guy, because why not? Like, one of the main things you'd be worried about here would be an Ulamog's Nullifier, and they just bounce. Okay. If I was my opponent and I just played a 3-drop and missed a land, I would 100% have exiled the Hedron Crawler. It's like our hand's stacked if we hit another land. We may lose if we don't, but that said, Lugak, at least that can attack into that. Like, I can't not play something this turn. And it does make Nissa's Judgment able to kill this if I draw another land and decide that's what I want to do. So here's the downside of the Lugak, but it's what we got. If we get sheer dropped here or Containment Membrane, we're in a lot of trouble. But I mean, that was basically just a function of this deck missing land drops. That is a thing that's going to happen fairly often. I might side into 18 land on the play. You're more likely to hit your land drops on the draw. Bliget Herder. Alright, at least we don't have to deal with the little dudes. It's kind of land or bust here. We hit the land, so that's good. So our options include but are not limited to. We can't Stone Fury this. We can Stone Fury that. So Nissa's Judgment. Our dudes deal damage equal to their power to their dudes. So I could Judgment on these two and then pling that. Then get in an attack with the Lugak. And then next turn Stone Fury this. Our opponent's down to 2 cards. That's why I'm wanting to kind of control their board instead of expand ours. It also means that this won't trade for one of the tokens when this eventually pops. Plus Stone Fury's instant speed. So I think we just do this. It lets us potentially get in for 4 or trade this for that, which is good for us too. And we've turned our Hedron Crawler into a 2/3, which is not an irrelevant card. Nissa has judged you unworthy. Alright, what terrible thing's happening to us now? A 4/4. Well, that's dying immediately. Like, that just has to die right now. Our opponent gets any more land drops, we're in trouble. So, see you later, Amiria Shepherd. Hope you've enjoyed playing Magic. Also, if they keep taking this, we're getting ahead on the race eventually with 2 shocks in hand, essentially. The downside is they'll be able to block soon with these, which costs us a little bit. But again, we could rip Plummet. I did put in 2 of those Ambush Flyer cards, which would be good. Could sort of get ahead on mana if we used one on this guy, like tap it for mana, untap it, tap it for mana, cast a 3 mana instant or something. There are things we could do that would be good, yeah. I think if it was my opponent, I'd probably just sit back and hold up the spawning bed. Like, I don't want to trade this for 2 tokens. Although I suppose casting that's pretty good too. They can potentially trade it for this guy and or make us actually use the mana for it. They could use it to try to get ahead on the manas. Yeah, I feel like anything I play here is a little bit of a liability, and this thing's a little bit of a problem too. So I could attack with both. and then reality hemorrhage down whatever they don't block with. But the ground pounders are just starting to get really useless. All right, I'm playing the land. I think we're swinging with the saddle back. And with any luck, they trade these off. That'd be fantastic. Okay, we are quite happy with that. Now you just want to take the 4? Okay. Because they're going to drain me end of turn. That means we really need to bring the pain. So I think it's Shatterskull Recruit, as that's difficult for them to block. Again, they're going to be able to block with these things. So maybe it's just the Hellion. But this eats up the tokens faster if they decide to go that route. And it also puts on enough pressure that they may have to make the tokens. Like the other options, they just sit here pinging us for, you know, 1 a turn. Which will eventually get them winning the race, not us. I don't like that. I may have to 2-for-1 myself to get rid of this Sentinel, but I'd rather have more dudes in play first. That's basically a 3-turn clock now. But if they keep whiffing, it gets us there. Alright, so options include but are not limited to. Land drop's actually not bad. It means I can attack with the Crawler and play Hemorrhage, except I don't want to. So let's say I attack with everything and they take it and drain me for 1. We win. So we like that. We also have potentially 4 damage in hand if I don't attack with the Crawler. If I attack with these, they probably make tokens double chump. Then I can slam the Hellion. Just trying to decide if it's dangerous enough that I have to kill this right now or not. And I don't believe that it is. I think we can attack with these 2 and be in pretty good shape. If they're going to go the token making route, I think we're okay with it. Because now we can't... I mean, I guess we can get drained by each token as it dies. But like all of them are gone now. They clearly want to put 2 tokens in front of the Lagak. Like, that seems reasonable. You have to double block a creature with menace. It is menacing, yeah? Are you not intimidated? I found splashes in the sealed decks I've had that have been good. Splashes were not something I needed. I think I like this setup. I think I like what's happening here. Yeah, they get a drain off, but that's not going to put us dead to this. We can cast the Baloth and then still have 4 in hand. And their board's essentially gone. Alright. So I think we do play the Baloth and leave up a burn spell to either burn that Scion or burn the face end of turn. I'd say it's likely we burn that Scion if they don't play anything. But we'll see what they've got. A Shrieker? Okay. I think burning that looks better than burning the Scion. Kind of okay with the land draw here. So I think, let's see, we're at 3. We have to kill them. And I don't think we actually can. We swing team, they block here, chump here, take 4, and then we're basically dead. So I don't think we got there on this one. They eat this, chump that. Take 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this guy just got him too much life for us to be able to do anything. I guess we still attack and see what they do. As, again, we could have a combat trick and there's no point letting them know we don't. I guess this still pseudo lets them win. Like, getting them to 4 doesn't do much. Yeah, that's unfortunate. We were darn close this time. I'm not going to play the Hellion as we're just dead. So I don't see any value in showing the card, but let's see there. We just got a little stuck on lands in the beginning and didn't quite get out of it. So as I mentioned, there's some argument for siding in more lands when you're going to go on the draw, as you just really want to hit your land drops. So I'm sort of thinking about taking out one Hedron Crawler and adding in one land. As we noticed there, missing land drops hurts you a lot worse than having a 2-drop. If I had a utility land, it'd be super easy. Like, this deck would actively like whatever the red one is that gives a thing +1/+1 in first strike, but we don't have it. I don't think we have a needs for a wastes, because again, all we're looking to do is the aggregate, the obligator, and the where's the little 2-drop? This guy. But I might could see playing a wastes over a Hedron Crawler. Not with my color requirements like this. I'm just going to bring in an extra mountain on the play so we make sure we can hit our land drops. And then attempt to curve out. So let's see what we can do with that. Also, I suppose with some landfall creatures, we don't actively mind a few extra lands here or there. But yeah, we do want to go on the play. This is one of those hands that looks really bad with the Saddleback Lagak. It gets good if we draw a 2 or a 3, though. I'm going to keep this on the play because mulliganing is pretty punishing there. The downside is, like, we'd need another mountain just to cast the Stone Fury, but I really feel like Vines is going to be a good card against this opponent. And, like, if we draw a 2-drop would be fantastic, but even a 3, we're in pretty good shape. So this is a little bit of a greedy keep, but it's one I can get behind. Also, we can cast other 4s before we cast the Lagak. We just kind of need to draw more dudes, and there's like 17 in the deck. That's a lot of dudes. And we're fairly happy with any of them here. Even the Hedron Crawler that we have left would be fine. Obligator's okay. It's not exactly the droid I'm looking for. But if we have to cast it as a 3/1 haste here, and then bump it to a 4/2 next turn, I'm not opposed to that. Yeah, that is a high priority target, but there's nothing we can do about it. I think our play here is to cast the Obligator, hit for 3, and then try to Lagak it. Like, yes, this guy is an act of treason, but sometimes you just need a dude on the table. And that's kind of what we need here. It also allows us to punish an opponent that's splashing. It doesn't look like they've had trouble hitting their mana, but they're sort of playing a 3-color deck if they actually have a use for that colorless, the Wingdings. I don't hate the Vines of the Recluse. I'm a little nervous about getting reproached here, and the Recluse doesn't help us with that. And there's an option to play the dude and not attack. But I'm not convinced I like that either. I kind of do now. Like, what happens if I just play the guy and then let them tap out to resolve their 3/3 flyer next turn, and then I judgment it? Isn't that a pretty good turn? Well, I'm definitely playing this. It's just a question of whether or not I attack. So various pump spells would get me here. Like a Mighty Leap would still make these trade. I think I'm probably okay, other than that they have 6 action cards and I don't. With them reproaching this, it's just so tempting to get them to not use their mana this turn. Yeah, I gotta go for it. This may seem a little weird, but I'm playing around reproach here. Turns out I was wrong. But even with that, I'd like to have the Vines of the Recluse up. / Stone Fury. I can't do both next turn, but like there's a chance they attack and play the 3/3 flyer, and we're super happy if they do. Because that's the one we're really worried about. Hadron Archive we're not crazy scared of, but I mean, it's a card. Alright, they're holding back. I kind of just want to play the Baloth. Like, if we attack, we trade off boards. It's not super great for us. If I judgment one of them, my guys get bigger. Then I could play the Baloth and have Vines up. I'm not super worried about this dude. I'm not super worried about either of those dudes. I guess I'd trade the Lagak for either of them if I'm going to have a Baloth in play anyway, and I'd certainly rather put a counter on it. So let's attack in. I don't think I'm going to use Vines of the Recluse here. But if he wants to take the damage, which there's a chance he might, then we're good here. If he wants to trade him, I think we're okay with that too. Because we kind of want them to tap out again, and then us to draw one land. And then we've got a pretty good turn. If they don't tap out, we've got to be more careful. Like with Sweep Away in the format, you can't really use this unless your opponent's tapped out. I'd also like to potentially be able to eat this Ulamog's Nullifier, which means I have to get one of my creatures tapped and have a land up. We said they didn't have any trouble hitting their land drops. They may have, though, in that we saw cards they needed double white for. I still kind of just want him to tap out for a Ghostly Sentinel. I think that might be the best thing for us. I don't think we want to like try to kill the Hedron Crawler or anything like that. I still felt like it was the Flyers that were going to do us in this game. Alright, yeah, tap out, buddy. That's what you should do. Keep going. Tap them all. Like, if they play the 3/3 flyer, even if we don't draw a land, we're in business. Well, I don't think that's the end of the world. I'm not trading these. Our Baloth gets a little worse, but Netcaster Spider we like. That means I could probably get some value off the Vines of the Recluse this turn with them tapped out. Yeah, I think I like that. So we'll attack in, use a combat trick to eat the flyer. Just to get it off the board. That also lets us play this guy and then have two creatures to judgment the land next turn if we decide that's the route we want to go, and it probably is. That may have been a little assertive to use a combat trick like that to get a blocker out of the way, but I still feel like it was the right call. Seer's Lantern we're not super scared of. Three flyer we're not super scared of. He should attack with that land. I would like that a lot, as that gives me an excuse to bonk his guy and swing for, what's that, 8 damage? I'll trade 3 for 8. Yeah. Do it. Come at me, bro. There you go. I like it. I like what you did there. I think Do I want to save that land for the Baloth? Not when I have Plated Crusher in the deck. We could draw Crusher into another... Well, we could draw land into Crusher, but this is just happening. You have been judged unworthy. Swing for 8. I probably do want the land if they're playing bounce spells. I've been screwed more by holding lands than by not. Like, yeah, I've got the Baloth. Yeah, it would be nice to have the Baloth in play, etc., etc. But I don't think we're going to go nuts about holding lands for it. I feel like there's a chance we're getting shear dropped here, and I really wish we had our other vines. That guy? Alright. If we have to, we can Stone Fury that, and we may have to. We can also Stone Fury the land. And that means he can max drain us for 3 a turn, but he's taking 8 a turn. Like, I feel like a 5-3 will finish the game pretty darn quick. Whereas if I attack with it and he's still got this land up, he just easily trades them. But if I Stone Fury the land, well, now things get a little interesting. I can activate this 1, 2, 3, 4 times a turn. So let's say he had the 3-3. Let's say he had a 3-3 unblockable here. 3-3 unblockable lifelink. Yeah, we're basically swinging lethal every turn. He's got to start chumping soon. Or have Reproach. So is there a way I can beat Gideon's Reproach? I don't know for sure that there is, but it's probably going to start with killing that guy. Does that mean I swing with both? I think so. I still don't like losing my 5-3. Let's say I attack with the 5-3, he trades here and takes 3 and then drains me for 3 and I kill this. That puts me at 11, him still at 9. I've got a 3-4 in play and he's got nothing in play but 2 cards. The other option is just kill it and attack with the 3-4. Gosh, this is such a tough decision because if he's got that Gideon's Reproach and he just eats this guy or eats this guy, we're kind of done. I think I like attacking with the Spider and attacking with this later when I've got a Baloth in play, but this thing's going to have to die. I am going to try to do it end of turn. If he double blocks, that's terrific for us. Because we could still kill this and then not have to worry about our Reproach blowing us out. I'm taking the 3s fine too. Alright, well that means end of turn we're going to Stone Fury. He may think he has time to scry instead of draining me. But I don't think he does, actually. Alright, let's just get rid of it. That puts him down to 8 with us having 8 in hand. Like a removal spell is pretty good. He still can't cast Isolation Zone. Opponent is also down to 3 minutes, which is a thing. You're in charge of your own clock on Moto. It is part of the online game, even if it is not part of the paper game. So certainly something worth being aware of when you're playing online. But I do feel like the 5-3 is pretty valuable on this board. And it was tempting to take him off mana, but all of these other things produce mana for him. The only thing we're really taking him off of is double black. Like, he's got a board of just 100 mana sources. This Rolling Waters, I don't think he has enough time to win a game after that, but I mean, he can try. He did draw some cards, but he can't even attack because we've got the Obligator. I think do I want to go Baloth or do I want to go Obligator, make him trade? He's pretty worried about that Obligator. The Baloth gets better later. I mean, I can play the Obligator and the Aggressor, but yeah, with 6 mana, I feel like I have to cast 2 spells here to get back in. And this guy plus the Spider might be my best bet. So if I cast this in attack, is it great? No. Can this spell get better later? Yes, but I'm going to have to get through that 3/3 anyway. And I may as well play the 2/3 that can block most of his stuff. I know we could have hasted out the other guy, but it just doesn't do anything on this board. And a 3/4 flying, we can actually kill that by blocking it. And I don't think he's in a position to be attacking with it. Although that's a little scary. Plated Crusher. 1, 2, 3. We're a mana short. Which is really sad, especially when we sided in the extra land. Well, we've got him at 8. I kind of feel like spamming stuff on the board is going to make him a little more nervous. And maybe buy us time to hit that last land drop. So I'm going to try that. Like, we can't take a lot of hits, but our opponent can't really attack us very effectively. Because the Crusher would certainly end this game, but we're at a very real possibility of this game going to time now. Which wouldn't be the most exciting win, but I'll take it. Of note, they can cast a isolation zone now by using the holdout settlement. And our opponent disconnected. Which seems like a fitting end to this matchup. Not going to say we were definitely going to win. I'll say it was probably close, though. Like, if we have a land on top and we play that, like, I'm not sure they can attack here. So, like, a removal spell is pretty good for us. If they tap something during our attack step, they can't block something, which is just fine. If they don't hit a land, we can just block with our Netcaster Spider. And, like, any land allows us to cast as a Crusher. So I think we were in good shape there, but even if they reconnect, they're not going to have time to finish it. Sorry about a timeout for round 1, but I guess that's how you get the good long videos. 3, 2, 1, boom. Boom? Boom? No boom. Why no boom? Okay, there we go. Boom. Cool. We will see you for the next round in just a moment.